Hey everyone, welcome back to Car Flash, the channel where glossy brochures, dealership promises, and marketing hype all get left behind so we can focus on the stuff that actually matters, how a car looks, feels, and drives in the real world. If you're new here, welcome aboard. We dig deep into the details you'd want to know before even thinking about signing paperwork at a dealership. Today we've got something that's been stirring up a lot of curiosity and buzz. The all-new 2026 Toyota Mini Land Cruiser. Toyota is reviving its rugged DNA and shrinking it down into a package that's meant to be more affordable, more accessible, and more practical for everyday use while still keeping that iconic Land Cruiser toughness. So, buckle up, we're going to break this one down from the outside, to the inside, to what's under the hood, and finally whether this little Land Cruiser actually earns its badge. Exterior. At first glance, the front end is immediately recognizable as part of the Land Cruiser family. It doesn't try to hide its heritage. You get a boxy, upright face, a squared-off hood, and a grille that proudly wears the Toyota badge front and center. Instead of going with sleek, curvy lines like you see on crossovers, Toyota leans into a rugged aesthetic here. The headlights are squared LEDs, framed with bold DRL signatures that give it a modern touch without losing the tough image. The bumper has chunky plastic cladding and an exposed skid plate that screams off-road readiness. Even though this is the mini version, the stance looks tall and confident, almost daring you to take it off the pavement. Moving to the side profile, the design language stays consistent to boxy, functional, and upright. You'll notice shorter overhangs, which help with approach and departure angles when you're actually going off-road. The wheel arches are squared and lined with protective cladding, and Toyota offers wheel options ranging from practical 17-inch alloys to more stylish 19s if you want a slightly urban look. But even with the larger wheels, it doesn't lose its utilitarian proportions. The greenhouse is tall, the windows are relatively large, and the roofline stays almost flat. Roof rails come standard, hinting at adventure capability whether you're mounting bikes, a cargo box, or even a roof tent. The door is shut with that reassuring thunk you'd expect from a Land Cruiser, and there's a subtle but noticeable shoulder line running the length of the vehicle, giving it a planted, sturdy feel. Swinging around to the back, Toyota has kept things simple and functional. The tailgate is squared off, with vertical LED taillights that echo older Land Cruiser designs but in a modern way. The spare tire isn't mounted on the rear like the classic 70 series, but Toyota gives you optional accessories for that retro look if you want it. The bumper is upright and sturdy, and the departure angle looks decent for something in this size class. Toyota didn't try to make it look like a soft crossover. It's upright, practical, and unashamedly boxy, which is refreshing in a market full of rounded, car-like SUVs. Interior. Inside, the Mini Land Cruiser feels like Toyota's struck a careful balance between ruggedness and modern comfort. Step in and you'll notice the cabin sits higher than most crossovers, giving you that commanding SUV seating position. The dashboard design is straightforward and functional, with strong horizontal lines and chunky controls that are easy to operate even if you're wearing gloves. The infotainment system sits in the center with Toyota's latest 12.3-inch touchscreen, complete with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. It's fast, intuitive, and paired with a decent sound system depending on trim. Underneath, physical knobs for climate control and drive modes remind you that Toyota knows not everything should be a touchscreen. The materials vary by trim. Base versions give you durable cloth seats, perfect for outdoor use and easier to clean, while higher trims bring in Softex or genuine leather with contrast stitching. Storage is generous, with deep door pockets, multiple USB-C ports, and a big center console bin. The rear seats fold flat for extra cargo space, and thanks to the upright design, the load floor is practical and all items fit without trauma. The back seats themselves offer good headroom because of the boxy roof line, and legroom is competitive for this segment, though if you're over 6 feet tall you might find it a bit snug on long trips. When it comes to performance, Toyota gives you a few choices. The main powertrain is a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired with an 8-speed automatic. It makes around 265 horsepower and plenty of torque, enough to move this smaller Land Cruiser confidently both on-road and off. For buyers who want more efficiency, Toyota also offers a hybrid version that pairs the same 2.4-liter turbo with an electric motor for a combined output north of 300 horsepower while improving fuel economy. All-wheel drive is standard across the lineup, with Toyota's multi-terrain select system available, letting you tailor traction control to mud, sand, rock, or snow. Ground clearance sits at around 8.5 inches, so you're not going to crawl like a Wrangler Rubicon, but it's more than capable for trails, camping trips, or rough back roads. On the road, the mini Land Cruiser feels planted. The suspension tuning leans firm, which helps it feel composed in corners and stable at highway speeds, but it's not punishing over bumps. Toyota clearly wanted to make sure it's comfortable enough for daily commuting yet doesn't lose the toughness expected from a Land Cruiser. Off-road, the shorter wheelbase and good approach and departure angles make it surprisingly agile. It's not a hardcore rock crawler, but for the weekend adventurer or someone living in a snowy climate, it's the perfect balance. Pricing is where Toyota really makes a statement. The 2026 Mini Land Cruiser is expected to start just under $35,000, making it far more accessible than the full-size Land Cruiser, which pushes past $60,000. Higher trims with leather, advanced driver assist tech, and the hybrid powertrain climb toward the mid-$40,000 range, but even then, it feels like strong value considering the blend of rugged styling, Toyota reliability, and off-road credibility you're getting. Toyota is clearly targeting people who love the idea of owning a Land Cruiser but don't need or can't justify the massive size and price of the traditional version. So, after spending time with the 2026 Mini Land Cruiser, the big question is, does it live up to the name? Honestly, yes. It doesn't feel like a watered-down crossover pretending to be tough. Instead, it feels like Toyota went back to the basics, focusing on rugged styling, real off-road ability, and everyday practicality, all in a smaller and more affordable package. It's not going to replace the big Land Cruiser, but it doesn't need to. It carves out its own identity while honoring the heritage. That's going to wrap up our in-depth look at the 2026 Toyota Mini Land Cruiser. If you enjoyed this review, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to Car Flash for more real-world reviews, and let me know in the comments what you think about Toyota shrinking down the Land Cruiser. Do you see this as your next adventure vehicle? Or do you think Toyota should have left the badge reserved for the big guys? Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.